Just a few words about our federation. I know that most of you know our organisation, many of you are members, but as some of you perhaps don't know, we were founded in 1915, and we're currently comprised of more than 400 members, including the largest manufacturing companies in Northern Greece. Over the years, we've made a special point of focusing on providing support to increase our members' presence abroad. And as a part of our efforts, since 2008, the Federation of Industries of Greece has been a member of an EU-funded initiative called the Enterprise Europe Network. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I would like to show you a very brief presentation just to illustrate what the Enterprise Europe Network does. And for any of you who would like to read more, you can pick up one of the leaflets which are outside. So, Enterprise Europe Network. So the Enterprise Europe Network is the world's largest support network for innovative SMEs with international ambitions. The numbers speak for themselves. We help many companies every day. They benefit from our expert advice. They receive specialized guidance. We have training sessions. We have informative events such as this one. And we hope the ultimate goal basically is to assist companies to sign partner agreements, receive funding, receive some kind of certification, cover a huge range of services. And it seems that we have a great deal of satisfied customers at the end of the day. We have hundreds of organisations. The network covers not just the EU member states, but companies around the world. And you can see that there is a presence of the Enterprise Europe Network in Latin American countries as well, particularly Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. And the network is growing constantly, and we're adding new countries to our network on a regular basis. Our focus is basically to customize our services to the needs of each individual company. So we try to analyze what your needs are, what phase of your business you're in, and tailor the services that we can provide. We have expertise in a wide range of topics, from innovation, resilience, which is obviously a very hot topic at the moment in Europe, sustainability, which is also incredibly an incredibly important part of businesses' activities now. And we have special working groups that cover all of the industrial ecosystems around that have been basically defined by the EU. And just to let you know, before I close, these are the events, the company missions that we are planning in the future. Possibly you have already received, any of you who are in the food and drinks sector will have received information about our food and drinks company mission to the Netherlands and Belgium, which will be taking place in November. We also have a food and drinks company mission to the UK in spring that we are setting up at the moment. And we will be working on a company mission to Latin America, which is still in progress, but we will be announcing in due course, and that will be multi-sectoral as far as I know. So it won't just be covering a specific sector, it will be open to a variety of different sectors. So that's all from me for the moment, and I will pass you on to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Yannis Patsiavos from the Greek-German Chamber.
Thank you, Monica. Good afternoon. I present two associations, mainly the Greek-German Chamber of Commerce and Industry and a small association, the Greek Latin American Business Council. Almost every year we organize this kind of workshops in order to promote the countries of Latin America. But this time, in this workshop, we have an additional, let's say, element, which is in addition that in the past workshops we had the embassies of the countries in Greece. This time we invited our embassies from some of these countries also to express their point of view on how they see the economy and the business environment in the countries where they serve, so as that we can provide a more complete picture. And why we do this? Because every year we try. This year, most likely, we will manage to do it. A new mission, business delegation to Latin America. I believe it will be in the western part of Latin America, in the Andean part. Definitely Colombia, because Colombia is a growing economy. Also Peru and Chile. Maybe we will add a fourth country, maybe Mexico, we will see. The goal is to offer the opportunity to Greek companies to explore on the field the opportunities about it there. And there are. I can tell you from experience that in the past missions, we have had some successes, although it looks like very distant, the Latin American continent. But nowadays technology helps to make distance smaller. What is more important is to check where the opportunities, real opportunities are bound. And for some Greek products and services, there are opportunities in these countries. We noticed it last year in Colombia. It's really a growing economy. We have had some cases in Brazil and in Argentina that companies that participated have made deals to export the products. And there are many other areas as well. So this is the concept of this informative workshop. We will try to be on time as much as possible because our guest speakers most of them will connect and deliver a presentation. So as Monica said, and I also repeat that we will announce soon the new mission to Latin America. And now you will have the opportunity to hear a lot of data, of figures, of impressions, of experiences, and of even advices and suggestions on how to enter to these markets by our distinguished guest speakers. So let's start the presentations, the country presentations, and I will invite from the Embassy of Mexico in Greece, Mr. Miguel Vilchis, who is the Minister of Embassy for Trade and Investment in the Embassy of Mexico in Athens, to join us and deliver his presentation.
Hello. Buenas tardes. Hola, Kala. Do you hear well?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Kalispera. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, even if I would like to be personally, but in this case, I will do this presentation by virtual system. First of all, I would like to thank the invitation, especially to Mr. Yanis Patsiavos, which is Director of Greek Latin American Business Council. But I would like to mention as well two important institutions of Greece, the Federation Industries of Greece and the Thessaloniki Chamber of Trade and Industrial and Trade. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, because this business forum is a special occasion to give you a general glimpse about investment and trade opportunities in Mexico, an ally in a reliable trading partner with privileged strategic position. Just give me fix the first graphics. Mexico is one of the international markets with highest potential for business and investment, demonstrating resilience despite global challenges. Demonstrating resilience, Mexico offers access to key markets in North America, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. Macroeconomic stability, skilled labor, and a domestic market of 130 million of consumers. Mexico ranks the 12th largest global economy, with a total trade exceed $1 trillion. Mexico's free trade agreements give the preferential access to 50 countries, strengthening Mexico's role in global value chains. North America is Mexico's main trade and investment partner, thanks to the free trade agreement between Mexico, US, and Canada since 1994. Although the US has modified its tariff policy, Mexico maintains preferential treatment, meaning an effective tariff much lower than that applied to the rest of the countries. Mexico offers ideal conditions for relocation known as nearshoring to Greek and European companies seeking stable markets, qualified personnel, and reliable supply chains. Mexico's economy has a strong base in manufacturing with potential for higher growth. As you can see, is the ninth largest foreign direct investment recipient in the world, and second in Latin America. Mexico has a robust infrastructure network, ports, terminals, airports, railway network, roads infrastructure, and as well, and thanks to the Plan Mexico, an ongoing investment in industrial parks, intermodal hubs, and border facilities, strengthening Mexico as a regional trade gateway. And one important thing is as well renewable energies that will drive a sustainable development in Mexico, which aim to generate 80% of the energy capacity from clean energy. Mexico is one of the countries with greatest potential for solar energy, possess exceptional wind resources, and by 2030 will modernize the energy infrastructure to support the growing demand. While the current level of bilateral economic relations Mexico-Greece remain limited, there is significant room for further development in a strategic sector, given the position of Mexico as a leading exporter worldwide country in sectors such as automotive, medical devices, agribusiness, metal mechanics, electronic, aerospace, pharmaceutical, and processed food. I am sure some of these sectors as well can be complementary with the Greek economy. Last April, the new Mexican government launched a Plan Mexico, a very ambitious plan, a tool that defined 18 priority projects for development and investment in key sectors. such as food security, energy, industrial production, public infrastructure, to name just a few. Our approach is to build together and generate mutual benefits between our two nations. Europe is a first-level strategic ally for Mexico. With the modernization of the global agreement between European Union and Mexico, a new stage has been opened to strengthen our relations. Mexico is poised to become a reliable industrial and logistics hub for Greek and European companies seeking to diversify and to expand their markets. The expected benefits of the global agreement in terms of trade are, to name a few of them, the new trade facilitation measures, including simplifying custom requirements. A mechanism is created for small and medium enterprises to take advantage of the agreement opportunities. Liberalization is extended to 86% of agricultural and fishery products. Protection for geographical indications. The EU has been granted protection for 340 of its products. Investment protection, a dispute resolution tribunal is included for the first time for Mexico. And public bidding. Market access coverage is expanded to including goods, services, and public works. The global agreement between Mexico and the European Union is currently under legal review and is expected to be submitted for signature by the end of 2025. To conclude, let me say one important thing: the Mexican embassy is ready to assist Greek businessmen in identifying business opportunities and facilitating information on investments in Mexico strategic sectors. To this end, there are tools such as one-stop shop for investors and other platforms designed by the Mexican government to make information available, as well search for opportunities, provide institutional support to connect with Mexican institutions that lead different projects, as well support to promotion of Mexican products, and identify export opportunities facilitating participation in international fairs, expand the network of commercial contacts, and disseminate Mexican exportable supply. And on top of that, and to conclude, let me tell you that we are proud to announce that the new Mexican Hellenic Business Association has been established last March, marking the beginning of an agenda that will promote growth and cooperation in key sectors. The new Hellenic Mexican Business Association is ready to collaborate with Greek entrepreneurs and institutions as business facilitator and to explore the possibilities that Mexico and Greece both can offer each other. I think with this presentation, we have given a very general review of what the potential of Mexico business is for Greek's companies. We are here and we are ready to work with you together. Thank you very much, and I wish that the workshop will be very successful for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Let me add just a couple of points. You mentioned that it has been established recently, the Hellenic Mexican Chamber in Greece, which is right. And I think
Exactly, yes.
yes, and I believe that it can help a lot Greek companies that are interested either to get more detailed information or get contacts in Mexico to have this support by the Hellenic Mexican Chamber. At the same time, I know that in Mexico also there's another similar, let's say, association, which is the Mexican Greek Chamber, chaired by a Greek Mexican businessman who owns a group of companies, and he can also be supportive to any interested Greek company trying to enter the market, which is a big market, 120 million consumers. Just get this picture of the size of the population, which is consumers. And the second point I'd like to mention is that we believe that such a big country like Mexico, in such a country, the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs shall consider to open a commercial department in the Greek embassy, which is lacking. And we are trying to pass this message to the Greek Ministry that such a big market of 120 million, in order for the Greek companies to get more substantial support, we need to have a commercial counselor in our embassy down in Mexico City. And we hope that sometime this can be realized. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, for Argentina, we have received a video from the Embassy of Argentina in Greece, where Mr. Nicholas Gauna, the head of the Economic and Trade section of the Embassy of Argentina in Greece, will deliver a few words.
Dear organizers, speakers, and participants in this new edition of Doing Business with Latin America workshop. I'm the head of the Economic and Trade section of the Embassy of the Argentine Republic in Greece. I would like to start by thanking the Greek German Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Greek Latin America Business Council for organizing this event together with other two cooperating agencies. The Argentine Embassy in Athens deeply values the opportunity to present our views on the economic, investment, and trading potential of the Argentine-Greek bilateral relationship with a view to strengthening the Latin American and European links. As many of you may know, since December 2023, Argentina has embarked on a deep and broad agenda of economic and financial overhaul, concentrated in reducing public expenditure, deregulating and cutting red tape, opening the economy, and dramatically increasing investment in our country. In the last month, we started seeing many promising results. Very briefly, we want to highlight three of them. First, the notorious reversal from fiscal deficit to systematic surpluses. Second, the sustained drop in the inflation rate, away from the upward spiral dynamic of 2023, and further consolidated the macroeconomic situation. Third, the return to GDP growth, with the Argentine economy set to grow more than 5% this year. This successful macroeconomic stabilization allows you to confidently explore many possibilities available in terms of doing business with Argentine counterparts. Regarding foreign traded goods, in 2024, Argentina registered its all-time biggest net surplus at almost $19 billion. Our export of goods almost totaled $18 billion and reached 186 countries. Last year, 10.3% of Argentine exports were destined to the European Union, and almost 15% of our imports came also from the EU. Argentina, of course, is an agricultural powerhouse, and exports to the European Union are dominated by soybean and pellets. However, we intend to boost other primary exports such as wheat, corn, legumes, hay, shrimp, and prawns, beef, peanuts, and wine. Second, we also want to expand the Argentine industrial exports, which explain almost 28% of the total in 2024. In a third place, we think that 2025 might see a marked increase in the Argentine energy, gas, and oil, and mining, gold, silver, and lithium exports. We also want to highlight the quality of the Argentine knowledge-based services, prominent among them business services, communications, and IT. In 2024, Argentina exported services for a total value that surpassed the $17 billion. Last year, Argentina instituted a special incentive regime for large investments, which we call RIGI, and provides predictability and legal certainty for large investment projects. In concrete terms, a 30-year guarantee of regulatory stability. Furthermore, RIGI contemplates a special provision for long-term strategic export investment projects that surpass the $1 billion. We encourage you to consider and explore all the available opportunities in terms of partnership with Argentinian counterparts, be it in trade of goods and services, tourism, investment, or any other you might be interested in. Please don't hesitate to contact us at the Argentine Embassy in Athens to assist you in that process. Thank you very much for your attention.
We'd like to thank for these messages Mr. Nicolas Gauna from the Embassy of Argentina in Greece. Now we will, as I said before, complete the picture for Argentina with the additional presentation, which will be delivered by Mr. Stavros Stavrakos, who is the commercial counselor of the Greek embassy down in Buenos Aires. Just let me say a couple of words for Mr. Stavrakos. I have been knowing him for a few years. Over the last, I think, 4 years, we have organized 2 missions in Argentina, and he has organized really very good meetings for the participants in our mission. He's well connected in the local business community, and he has assisted companies with not only the data he has provided, but also with the connections to us. So, Mr. Stavrakos, it's my pleasure that you join us this afternoon. Morning for you. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon to everybody. It's still morning in Argentina, but anyway, I know in Greece it's already afternoon. As you mentioned, my name is Stavros Stavrakos. I'm the head of economic and commercial section of the Greek Embassy in Buenos Aires. Before I begin, I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation, and they gave me this opportunity to participate in this workshop. I feel very honored. I have a presentation, so I would like to share it with you. Just confirm me if you can see my presentation. So
Yes, we can see.
Just a minute. Yes, can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll continue. I have been working in Argentina for the past 4 years already. And in my presentation, I would like to focus more on the bilateral commercial relations between my country, between Greece and Argentina. But certainly, I will also mention a few things about the country here in Argentina. Some general information about Argentina. It is one of the biggest countries in the world, with an area of 2.78 million square kilometers and a population of 47 million people. Of course, the official language, as everybody knows, is Spanish, and the national currency is the Argentine peso. Argentina is also a member of the G20, and approximately the GDP of Argentina is 600 billion euros. Certainly, everybody knows that Argentina won the last World Cup, but I need to mention it as I'm a big fan of the national team of Argentina. And I'm also proud to say that I managed to travel to Qatar together with local friends to support the efforts of the national team of Argentina to win the World Cup. So I'm very glad that they eventually did that. Just a few months ago, in April, the IMF approved a new 4-year program of $20 billion. The IMF approved the new program, recognizing the impressive progress of the Argentine government in stabilizing the economy and its determination to advance reforms and foster growth. Regarding foreign exchange restrictions, Argentina has taken a major step by lifting most of the currency controls, because there were a lot of currency controls here in Argentina. and the ability of the government to manage the exit from the foreign exchange restriction, the so-called CEPO, without any inflationary shock has been a very big success. Argentina's main exports include agricultural products, particularly soybeans and related products, corn, wheat, and beef as well. The country also exports significant amounts of automobiles and auto parts. In addition, Argentina is a major exporter of wines all over the world. As far as concerns Argentina's imports, we see commodities such as petroleum products, machinery, and motor vehicles. Other imports include pharmaceuticals, plastics, and electrical equipment. Brazil, China, and the United States are the main trade partners of Argentina. Chile and the EU are also significant trade partners. And now let's see the bilateral commercial relations between Greece and Argentina. The maritime sector has been traditionally the most important sector in the bilateral commercial relations between the two countries. Unfortunately, the volume of bilateral trade is quite low. Last year, the volume of bilateral trade between Greece and Argentina reached 322 million euros. Greek exports to Argentina were approximately 24.5 million euros, while Argentine exports to Greece amounted to almost 297 million euros. Therefore, Greece had a trade deficit and Argentina had a trade surplus of 273 million euros. All those figures that I just mentioned, based on data provided by the International Trade Center. Even though the bilateral trade is very low, especially the Greek exports to Argentina, we have to be optimistic. Considering the conclusion of the negotiations of the trade agreement between the EU and Mercosur very recently, just in December 2024, there will be a great opportunity for EU companies as soon as this agreement is ratified. Many Greek companies, especially exporting companies, could also benefit from this trade agreement. It has to be pointed out that the EU-Mercosur agreement will help to boost these exports by eliminating high duties on EU key export interests. Of course, the bilateral trade could be and should be further improved. Argentine citizens, I have to say that, they have a very positive view of Greece as a tourist destination, as well as its unique food and beverage products. Although Greek food and beverage products are not widely available in the Argentine market, consumers in Argentina recognize them as gourmet products, synonymous with a Mediterranean diet and healthy lifestyle. This is also evident from the fact that the Greek restaurants in Buenos Aires are very popular. Greek food and beverage products, however, are mainly available in a limited number of grocery stores in Argentina. One of the main tasks of our office here is to actively support Greek companies looking for trade partners in Argentina. We always try to facilitate negotiations and cooperation between countries from both countries, between companies from both countries. Furthermore, we are constantly examining market trends in Argentina with the aim of exploiting potential opportunities for the promotion of the Greek products. In previous years, our office successfully organized events to promote the Greek food and beverage products in Buenos Aires, as well as in other cities of Argentina. In some cases, visitors had the opportunity to taste traditional Greek products. In addition to those events, in the last years, as Mr. Passiavos mentioned before, two trade delegations from Greece have been organized. Greek companies from various sectors, including food and beverage, visited Buenos Aires and had B2B meetings with representatives of Argentine enterprises in order to explore potential business prospects. Now let's see some of the Greek products that are exported here in Argentina. The most important products that Greece exports to Argentina include petroleum bitumen, this is the first one, the most important, fresh kiwi fruit, razors, medicaments, and plates of aluminum alloys. Regarding fresh kiwi fruit, which is the second most important product that Greece exports to Argentina, it has to be noted that over the last years, there have been several promotional activities here in the market of Argentina within the framework of the EU projects Delicious Fruits. Those promotional activities included product sampling in several stores in Buenos Aires, where consumers had the opportunity to taste those fruits from Greece. Greece also exports other foods and beverage products such as feta cheese, olive oil, ouzo, mastic liqueur, waffles, and biscuits, but of course in smaller quantities. Greek yogurt, which is highly recognizable and preferred by the Argentine consumers, unfortunately is not available in supermarkets or grocery stores. On the other hand, Greece's main imports from Argentina are the following products that you can see the table: oil cake and other solid recipes, groundnuts, cattle, fish and squid, frozen shrimps, and fresh lemons. As you see in the table, oil cake is the first commodity. 77% of the total Greek imports from Argentina consist of oil cake. I would like to present a few success stories. So I will talk briefly about a few companies that operate very successfully here in the market of Argentina. First of all, Navio South American Logistics is one of the largest logistic companies in South America, and especially the Hidrovia, Paraguay, Paraná, serving the storage and marine transportation needs of its customers. Another company is the Tecnoacción, is a company providing, among other things, a comprehensive hardware and software solution to automate lottery game processing. Tecnoaction has been acquired by the Greek company Intralot. Bodegas Frontiras is a Greek investment in the winery sector in the province of Mendoza, a region famous for its excellent wines. Pobuka is another company, a Greek company that is specializing in helping businesses improve their customer experience through data-driven technology. The company has a very successful partnership with a telecommunications company in Argentina regarding customer relationship management solutions. And finally, the company Devesa, which is a meat processing plant located in a rural area, 200 kilometers south of Buenos Aires. Some Greek projects in the energy sector here in Argentina. First of all, the company Biosal Energy, which is part of the largest Greek construction group, Elactor, constructed a photovoltaic park in the province of San Luis in western Argentina. And then we also have a company, Integro, which has implemented several maintenance projects in electricity generation units in different cities in Argentina. Here you can see some photos from the last business delegation in November 2024. Also, Mr. Patsiavos mentioned that. And finally, this is the address of the embassy, of the Greek embassy in Buenos Aires, where we are located. We are located in a nice area. You can also see our email address in case you have any requests or you need some further information. We'll be very glad to assist you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stavrakos. Let me just add that you mentioned before one of the 5 Greek companies that are operating in Argentina, Pobuka. I recall that a representative of Pobuka took part in one of our missions 3 years ago, and they were very satisfied with their cooperation with the main telecommunication company in Buenos Aires. Also, it's worth to mention that in Buenos Aires, but also in Argentina in general, there's a Greek community, a big Greek community, which also is helpful to promote the name of Greece and the Greek products in the country. Also, it exists the Hellenic Argentine Chamber
Chamber of Commerce, yes.
Chamber of Commerce, with, founded by businessmen who are living of Greek origin who are living in Buenos Aires. They can also be a contact point and assist anybody, any company wishing to have access to the local market. So
Exactly.
very much,
Right.
Marcos. And now,
Just one
yes.
thing, would it be possible if Mr. Stavrakos could send us his presentation?
Yeah, of course, I will do it.
Perfect.
I did it yesterday, but I can do it again. I can forward the presentation now.
Excellent. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you so much.
So now we move to a very big country and market in Latin America, Brazil, one of the most important economies in the continent. And I would like to invite to join us from Athens, from the Embassy of Brazil in Athens, Mr. Alessandro Segavinacci, First Secretary and Head of the Sector of Commercial Promotion and Tourism in the Brazilian Embassy, Greece. Good afternoon, Mr.
Terasas. Good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to compliment to the German-Hellenic Federation of Commerce, to the Federation of Industries of Greece, my colleagues from the other embassies in Latin American countries. I'd like to start saying that my presentation will consist mostly about the European Union and the Mercosur Agreement. I express some data from Brazil and Greece bilateral trade, but I'd like to stress that most of my presentation would be the benefits of this economic partnership agreement. So, to start, I'd like to say that Brazil, as you may know, we are among the 8th to 10th largest economy of the world in terms of GDP, and so depending on the way that's measured, we can range from the 8th to 10th economy of the world. So Brazil is a very important economy. We have a diversified trade with several parts of the globe. We have the most important trading partner is China, then United States, Argentina, and EU countries together. Let me say, the Mercosur-EU Partnership Agreement, why it's so important this time? Because we believe that now, given that we have these mounting tariffs, mostly because of the United States tariffs that is being imposed, I think most countries try to diversify economy. Incredibly enough, this gave a boost for the EU Mercosur agreement again. And so we, Brazil, and I believe the EU, we have the same views of that, of having a strong liberalized trade all over the world. So this is a kind of example. And so why this agreement is so important. And I'd like to say for the Federation of Industry of Greece that we have presented a non-paper for the Greek government, because of course we believe that the Germans pretty much are in pro of this agreement. I think most of the society, German society is in pro of this agreement, and like that Greece, we don't know if Greece has a position as a country in favor or not of this agreement, but I think it benefits Greece a lot as well. So I'll bring some data about this agreement, and then I would like to talk specific benefits for Greece. Well, the agreement will integrate two of the largest economic blocs in the world. Together, Mercosur and the EU bring around 780 million people and a gross domestic product of approximately $22 trillion. When examined in terms of trade volume between the two blocs, it's both the largest trade agreement negotiated by Mercosur and one of the largest among those agreed upon by the European Union with trading partners. The agreement eliminates over 90% of tariffs on a wide range of goods in most sectors. The agreement also set easier and simpler custom procedures to facilitate exporting. The estimated benefit of tariff savings to the European Union exporters is over 4 billion euros annually, and increasing EU exports of 25 billion euros by 2035. In addition, European companies will be able to bid for public contracts on equal terms with Mercosur companies and gain preferential access to high-value service sectors, critical raw materials, and green goods. So we believe this is a win-win situation, and and in my point of view, I say that's most for the European Union because they will be like the first comers for Mercosur, because our tariffs range about 35%. It's our peaks, and the average tariffs is 12%. With this agreement, the European companies would be the first companies to have access to most of our sectors with almost zero tariffs in all of them. It is a very important data for, I think, for the European companies. Well, and benefits for Greece. We believe that the potential growth of transatlantic trade flows with the implementation of the agreement shall boost the demand of international maritime transport services and shipping tonnage, benefiting Greek shipyards and ship owners. 335 Greek companies already export to Mercosur, and 4,300 jobs in Greece are directly related to the EU exports to Mercosur, and the potential with the agreement goes far beyond of that. That's we think it's very important for Greece. So, and the agreement includes provisions for the liberalization of maritime service and elimination of significant port levies, benefiting Greek companies, maritime companies as well. As we'd like to mention that 350 EU traditional food products were recognized as geographical indications. And so a largest number of GIs and Greek geographical indications like feta cheese, ouzo, and various PDOs and PGI wines would be protected under the agreement. And so this would be very important for these goods that would have a boost to being part of the Mercosur consumers. I'd like to say that in 2024, Brazil had a trade surplus in goods with Greece of $268 million. But on the other hand, when it comes to trade in service, Greece had a surplus of $1.39 billion, mainly due to maritime services. And so this, it's very important to stress for Greek companies, and especially for the maritime services, is that this is a complementarity. If, for example, Brazil, and I think most of countries from Latin America, our main exports, they come to, for example, Brazilian, it's related to coffee and soya. And a large part of this maritime and crude oil. And the import, on the other hand, is related to oils and fruits and nuts from Greece, and most of them are made with the maritime service provided by Greece. So this agreement would not only benefit the EU, but would especially benefit this strategic sector where the Greeks are leads in the world. So I believe that the support of the Federation of Industries of Greece for this agreement would be very important to mount and would be important for the decision making of the Greek government as well. So we hope that we have you as ally in the near future, and we hope that we have this agreement soon enough to benefit our societies. So thank you so much. I will leave that for my colleague, my Greek colleague in São Paulo, to express the opportunities in trade that Brazil represents. And so to say the Greeks, saying to Greeks, what would be so nice in what Brazil is offering at this time. So thank you so much, and I'm thank you for being with you again. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabinazzi. Also thanks to the embassy for the continued support to our activities. I would also like to add a comment on what you said about the Mercosur agreement, but first I would like to give now the floor to the Greek commercial counselor in Sao Paulo, Mr. Dimitrios Pitsidimos, who I know him for long. He has joined the Greek consulate in Sao Paulo, I think a few months ago, but he's very well experienced, and now he will deliver his presentation on Brazil. Mr. Pitsidimos, good morning, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Let me extend a big thanks to the organizers, to the Greek German Chamber, to Mr. Patsiavos. I really appreciate your invitation today. Yes, I've been here since the beginning of February. I'm quite fresh, so to say, but still getting my experience week by week. And today I have no actual presentation to share with you, but I have put together some practical information for you, hopefully of interest. So here we go. Hello, Alessandro, taking the floor from you. Some quick facts and numbers about Brazil, just to get a quick picture. It's the world's 5th largest country and the 7th most populous, with over 212 million inhabitants. It's worth mentioning that it has the 2nd highest urbanization rate globally, only 2nd behind Japan. So Brazil's economy ranks 9th to 10th worldwide, and the country is the 5th largest global destination for FDI. The EU is the principal foreign investor, accounting for approximately 40% of the total foreign FDI here. Brazil is a leading exporter of sugar, soy, chicken, oranges, coffee, and beef. Actually, it's worth noting that 60% of global coffee production takes place in the country, here in Brazil. The main exported products, apart from agricultural products I mentioned, is mineral fuels, raw materials and minerals. And the main imported products are cars, fertilizers, chemicals, and pharmaceuticals. Now, a few words about bilateral trade of Greece and Brazil and prospects for Greek exports. Now, the total trade volume is around 400 million euros, not that high, and Greek exports only account for 71 million of them. Apart from petroleum products, exports are mainly kiwis, safety razors, and pharmaceuticals. And Greek imports from Brazil consists mainly of coffee, soy, tobacco, and jet fuel. As Alessandro said, trade in services registers a very high surplus from Greece. And as Alessandro said, it's mostly because of maritime services. Actually, Brazil is a top client globally for Greek maritime transport services. Now, going to prospects for Greek exports and some more practical information. According to export requests our office receives, there is an ever increasing demand for agri products, of course, coming from Greece. Kiwis, which is actually the only fruit permitted for export to Brazil by Greece. Olive oil and olives. Fruits and vegetables, preparations, and wines. There is also a considerable demand for ready-made meals and delivery services. So, a thing here is that there is not a bilateral phytosanitary protocol between Greece and Brazil for dairy products and honey. So, a whole range of products of Greece, which is widely available globally, cannot be exported to Brazil. A very promising sector here, and among Greece's top exports to Brazil, is the pharmaceutical and chemical and cosmetic sector. As you probably know, Brazil is one of the leading cosmetic markets worldwide, thanks to the prevalent culture of personal care. Tourism is another sector offering opportunities. Brazilian outgoing tourism mainly concerns individuals with high purchasing power, and Greece is a very popular destination here. Major operators are already offering for the past years a range of tourism packages to Greece. Maritime is also a leading sector for cooperation, as we said. Removal of cabotage restrictions during 2022 really solidified our Greek presence here. Brief mention to EU-Mercosur agreement that was concluded end of 2024. Among others, it provides for 20 Greek PDOs and PGIs, wines, food products, agri-products, a range of products. And when enforced, it is expected to further boost trade by reducing tariffs and related costs, which in turn will further enhance our products' outreach and prospects in the market. Now, going to a few more practical things about the Brazilian market and how to start approaching it. First thing to say that it's a vast market. It's a very vast market and highly diversified, so offering enormous potential. On the other hand, it's admittedly one of the most protected markets worldwide. So it calls for very consistent preparation and adaptation to local market conditions. So as we say, for this reason, it is advisable initially for exporters to focus on cities or states with higher buying potential, such as Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Minas Gerais, etc. One more thing is, as a local importer told me recently, I would advise against making a few quick and profitable but suboptimal sales around the country, like selling quickly and profitably in different parts of the country and then heading out, because the world goes around fast and it's unforgiving. It's always the case around the globe with export trade. I just need to mention. So some ways to export and choosing your business partner. It's not something novel that I will say now, but it's very important. So usually exports are fulfilled in two ways. It's either directly, as you know, by directly connecting and negotiating with an importer. This usually is more demanding time and effort-wise, but may lead eventually to a more beneficial deal for everyone involved. Another way is indirectly exporting, indirectly meaning partnering with local trading companies or brokers. It's much more convenient for a first-time exporter. It solves many issues. It simplifies things. But the range of services provided is very crucial. I mean, not everyone offers anything. So in this sense, business terms, every term must be thoroughly agreed upon beforehand. In Brazil, business context can be strongly based on personal interaction and trust, as the case is when participating in trade fairs, for example, within the country. Negotiations can be time-consuming or not, depending on the case, of course. And sometimes, or more times, knowledge of Portuguese language may also unlock your success here. Going to customs procedures and some challenges over there that you need to know. Brazil's customs procedures are notorious and present several challenges for international trade. Sometimes they can significantly impact the cost involved and time that is required to import goods. So some of the few challenges involve complex regulations. Brazil the import procedures require very meticulous documentation and very strict adherence to procedures. In fact, I cannot overstate enough the significance of proper documentation as the basis for fulfilling exports to Brazil. One wrong document can fall back your procedures for some weeks. In general, also Brazil imposes considerable to high tariffs and taxes on imported goods. Although, as Alessandro said, it ranges, but in general, they're considerably higher than other countries, which also adds to the cost of doing business and even makes it more difficult to compete with local businesses. Custom clearance delays are not uncommon, but this is due to a combination of factors. It's not always the case. The factors include port congestions, manual processing, and potentially strikes by customs officials. Although we have to say that Brazil has also taken several steps to combat customs fraud, but this in combination can also lead to more stringent inspections and scrutiny of shipments. Some sectors like medical devices or health products have very intense requirements that can be challenging for these industries. So an experienced custom broker or logistic partner is a valuable partner here to navigate the environment and ensure a smooth import process. So wrapping up my presentation, I will mention a few consumer trends or things good to know in general about the market here. Concerning price, this is a major concern within Brazil due to inflation, the cost of living in general, and inequalities. Brazilians are constantly seeking deals and comparing prices. However, the case is that there is a very strong loyalty to brands with value propositions and good customer service. Another thing is the very rapid growth of electronic commerce digital platforms. This is due to a very high number of users globally and the time spent online. Digital marketing and influencers play a key part in decision making, and Brazilians are always avid consumers of online content. So one more thing is that younger generations are, this is not only here but globally, are actively seeking organic and locally sourced goods. This aligns with a broader trend towards sustainability. As I mentioned before, there is also a very strong demand for beauty and personal care. This market is literally booming in Brazil for a wide range of products, including cosmetics, skin care, and hair care products. And finally, as I said, Brazil is a vast market, very and highly differentiated, so consumer trends vary significantly between the more developed regions in the south and southeast, as opposed to those with lower buying power in the north and the northeast. Brazilian market is vast and very diversified. So hopefully what I said was of some practical interest to you. And with this, I will conclude my presentation. Once more, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here, and feel free to contact me in the future for any questions, follow up, and every relevant request. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pichilimos. You included in your presentation a lot of useful tips, I would say, for Greek companies interested for this big market. Just a very brief comment on what before Mr. Zagabinazzi said regarding how the Greeks feel about the Mercosur agreement, which was long awaited for years. It has been discussed. Now it has been concluded. Now it's the time to be ratified. But when applied, I can just pass the message from some companies I have discussed. They believe that being implemented, it will help a lot. It will open many more opportunities. The fact that tariffs will be either completely eliminated or reduced significantly. Because as it was mentioned before, in average 35% is the tariff. But and much that being a lot less is very helpful for Greek exports. Also, Mr. Pitsidimos, you can expect that we will visit you again, not in the right next mission, because as I said before, it will be in the ambient part, but the following one will be again in Brazil. That time you will be well established, let's say, in Sao Paulo, and I'm sure you will help a lot the Greek companies to have the contacts there. Thank you very much again. Now, it is a real pleasure that we will have for the first time a presentation on Panama, and this time by the ambassador of Greece in Panama. I believe the embassy of Greece in Panama has been established fairly recently. In the past, we didn't have any Greek embassy in Panama. Now we have, and it's our pleasure to have with us this afternoon His Excellency Mr. Efthymios Efthymiadis, the Greek ambassador, who will share with us his thoughts and how he sees the environment and the business environment in Panama and the opportunity for Greek companies to be active there. Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Good morning from Panama. I feel privileged, and it's a real pleasure for me to address a distinguished audience. I really like to congratulate you, to commend you on choosing the subject of economic investment relations with Latin America. Latin America may be geographically distant from Greece, but there are very, very warm feelings between Latin American countries and Greece, and this compensates for the geographical distance. I would like to commend all the institutions and the persons involved in organizing this conference. And yes, and as you said, the Embassy of Greece in Panama is very recent. I opened the embassy in December 2023, and in a relatively short time, we managed to establish ourselves here, based principally on the support of the very active Greek community here in Panama, and on the very warm reception we had from the Panamanian authorities. The embassy in Panama is accredited not only to Panama, but to another 7 Central American and Caribbean nations. And without further ado, let me get to the subject. Panama has long been recognized as one of the most attractive investment destinations in the region. Its strategic location, dollarized economy, and consistently pro-business governments, the current one led by President José Raúl Mulino, make it an ideal environment for international investors. The country combines modern infrastructure, a strong financial sector, and logistic capabilities that are anchored in the world-renowned Panama Canal. At the same time, like many fast-growing economies, it faces challenges. Inequality, informality, and fiscal pressure remain the key issues. Recent social tensions reflect this, but overall, Panama continues to offer a stable political environment and a clear path forward for foreign investment. As Greeks, we already have a unique connection to the country. Thousands of Greek-owned vessels are registered under Panamanian flag, a powerful symbol of our shared maritime tradition. Both nations serve as critical hubs in global trade, Greece in the Mediterranean, Panama through the canal. and this opens natural synergies in shipping, logistics, port management, and regulation. On strategic location and connectivity next. Panama's location is arguably its greatest strategic asset. It links not only oceans and continents, but also digital and commercial networks. The country hosts 7 submarine fiber optic cables, handling over 90% of Central America's internet traffic. This level of digital connectivity supports Panama's broader role as a regional hub, not just for goods, but also for information and finance. The Panama Canal. The Panama Canal continues to move about 5% of global maritime trade, a figure few countries can match. However, in 2024, severe drought conditions highlighted these vulnerabilities. In response, the Canal Authority launched an ambitious 2035 master plan, including over $8 billion investments. A key element is the Rio Indio Reservoir project, which will secure water for canal operations and nearly half the population. Competition from ports in Mexico, Colombia, and US routes is growing. While the canal is fully under Panamanian control, US strategic interests remain high, especially amid China's rising competition in regional logistics and infrastructure. Global shipping and logistic firms continue to operate heavily in the zone, but water security and climate resilience are now central to the canal long-term strategy. Economic stability and growth. Panama's economy is projected to grow by 3.5% in 2025, rebounding from previous years. Key sectors driving this growth include shipping and logistics through the canal, ports, free trade zones like Colón and Panama Pacific, and innovation clusters like the City of Knowledge. Construction and infrastructure. Significant investments are being made in public infrastructure, including a 4th bridge over the Panama Canal, expanded metro systems, and a railway connecting the capital with the border with Costa Rica. Financial services. Panama's banking sector is among the most modern in Latin America, contributing 8% to the nation's GDP. Panama is a business-friendly environment. Panama offers an efficient regulatory framework, competitive tax rates, and a highly skilled bilingual workforce. The country operates a territorial tax system, meaning only income earned within Panama is subject to taxation. The Ventanilla Única system allows for streamlined business registration, enabling entrepreneurs to establish operations swiftly and efficiently. Next, about the investment opportunities. Several sectors present promising opportunities for investment. First, ports and logistics. Panama serves as a regional logistics powerhouse anchored by the Panama Canal. The country offers world-class port infrastructure, streamlined customs procedures, and multimodal transport links, including rail, air, and road, which makes it an ideal hub for distribution throughout the Americas. Next, renewable energy. With a commitment to sustainability, Panama is investing in renewable energy projects, including hydroelectric, solar, and wind power. Third, the Panama-Colombia electrical interconnection is a key project linking both countries' grids via a 500-kilometer line to boost regional energy security and renewable energy use. Moreover, Panama connects energy grids with Costa Rica and Guatemala through the Central America Electrical Interconnection System. And last, agribusiness. Panama's favorable climate supports the cultivation of tropical fruits, coffee, and cocoa, presenting opportunities for agribusiness ventures. Let me say a few things about relations with the EU and Greece. While Panama enjoys excellent relations with the European Union, it's important to note that some EU member states are also strong competitors here. Spain and the Netherlands are deeply involved in port and logistics operations. Germany leads in engineering and clean energy technology. Panama is a member to the EU Central America Economic Partnership Agreement, which facilitates trade, investment, and regulatory cooperation between both regions. The country also holds the Copernicus Center, a European-funded hub for satellite data used in disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation. And the EU delegation is supporting Panama with technical expertise and financial tools to advance the railway to Costa Rica, a project of strategic interest. Our bilateral ties, Greece's bilateral ties with Panama are very, very strong. Greece and Panama collaborate actively in international organizations. Currently, we are both members in the UN Security Council, and the Greek community here, like 2,000 strong community with historical roots in the country and a former president of the Republic who was Greek, is vibrant and engaged in both business, public, and social life. It's very important to say that Panama has a strategic role in Latin America. Panama is traditionally one of the most stable countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, serving as a vital regional bridge and trade hub. It maintains a strong pro-American stance while striving to balance relations with other global powers, including China. Currently, Panama is in a phase of transition, modernizing infrastructure and governance to enhance its role as a gateway between the Americas and a key player in the regional economic integration. By concluding my brief presentation, let me reiterate that Panama offers investors a combination of geographic advantages, solid macroeconomic indicators, and a business environment open to international partnerships. Its strategic position at the crossroads of global trade, supported by a well-developed logistic infrastructure and ongoing institutional efforts to improve competitiveness, presents a range of opportunities across sectors such as transport, energy, and services. As final words, let me say that in a year and a half that I have been serving here, in many ways, I've come to realize that we are more or less, Greece and Panama speak in many ways a common language, and Greeks are very, very welcome in Panama. So this very important feature I would like to highlight. And again, I would like to thank you all for your attention. I would like to congratulate you for your initiative and assure you that the embassy remains at your disposal for support, information, and any type of guidance that you might need in Panama. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. I think you mentioned two key words, that the Panama economy is dollarized, which has its significance. And also, you just mentioned that Greeks are very welcome in Panama. And we have felt that when we have visited Panama with the delegation, that in all the meetings, it was obvious that they had a special eye for the Greek companies or the Greek projects. And Mr. Ambassador, I know that not only the embassy is fairly new and there is no commercial council of the embassy, but I believe that in the future, whenever we will try to have a vision there, the embassy and your excellency will help us in finding some contacts there.
Looking forward to further cooperation, definitely.
Thank you very much again. And now
My pleasure.
we move to the next country presentation, which is Uruguay. This will be delivered in physical presence by Mr. Christos Kazantzis in the podium, which is the consul of Uruguay in Thessaloniki. Mr. Kazantzis, the floor is yours.
Hello to everybody. Thank you very much to the German-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Federation of Industries of Greece, and of course the Latin American Business Council. Special thanks to Mr. Patsiavos for his excellent organization, and give us one more time the opportunity to express our thoughts and our ideas about doing business in Latin America. My country that I'm representing is Uruguay, that, as most of you know, that standard out in Latin America for being an egalitarian society with high per capita income and low levels of poverty and inequality. In relative terms, its middle class is the largest in Latin America and the Caribbean, and accounts for more than 65% of the population. In 2023, the economy grew by 0.7%, largely reflecting the drought-induced decline in agricultural production. But in 2024, the economy rebounded, expanding by 3.2%, driven by exports and private consumption, supported by improvements in the labor market, and the inflation remaining within the Central Bank of Uruguay's target range. Uruguay has emerged as a regional leader in the development of innovative financial instruments to address climate change. A key milestone in the agenda is the approval of the first World Bank loan, whose financing conditions are linked to the achievement of ambitious climate goals. Under this operation, Uruguay could reduce its interest payments by up to 12.5 million if it is achieved a very favorable reduction in the intensity of methane emissions from the livestock sector. I need to mention that also Uruguay is a member of Mercosur. Mercosur is a party of EU-Mercosur Framework Cooperation Agreement, which signed in 1995, which includes provisions of trade cooperation, and Uruguay participated fully in the negotiations of the EU-Mercosur Association Agreement. As also we'll have in the later also representative of the EU Commission, I need to mention some points about EU trade relations with Uruguay. The EU is currently Uruguay's third biggest trading partner after Brazil and China, representing 11% of Uruguay's total trade. Total bilateral trade between EU and Uruguay amounted to 2.27 billion in 2024, with a small surplus in favor of the EU. Also in 2024, EU exports to Uruguay were dominated by chemicals, 33%, machinery and appliances, 24%, and transport equipment, 8%. Also in 2024, over half of EU imports from Uruguay were of pulp and paper, 52%. Other important imports were animal products, 21%, and vegetable products, 11%. The EU is the most important investor in Uruguay, with foreign direct investment stock of approximately 32.1 billion in 2023, including in the pulp sector. Also, the EU exports of services to Uruguay accounted for 1 billion in 2023, and EU exports for 0.7 billion. As the future EU-Mercosur Association Agreement will provide a boost to regional trade integration among the countries of Mercosur and stimulate new opportunities for trade with the EU by removing tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade. The Mercosur-EU Association Agreement covers, among other issues, trade in goods and services, investment, intellectual property rights, aspects including protection of geographical indications, government procurement, technical barriers to trade, and sanitary and phytosanitary issues, trade and sustainable development. The possibility of access to other Mercosur markets plays an important role in the attractiveness of Uruguay as a destination of foreign direct investment, a fact that is reinforced by major investments in the wine forestry and paper production sector. Some points about the market: that Uruguay became a high-income country by World Bank standards in 2013, one of the only two in South America, and has the second highest GDP per capita in South America, about 1/3 of the United States. Uruguay has a strong welfare state with the most equal income distribution, largest middle class, and lowest percentage of the population in poverty in South America. I want to mention this point and some the top reasons why US companies should consider exporting to Uruguay. Uruguay is an institutionally stable democratic country with strong rule of law and commitment to international agreements and norms. In terms of political stability and democracy, Uruguay is the leader country in Latin America. Also, Uruguay is extremely well connected, with over 90% of the population having access to the internet and 5G available in 94% of the country. So beneficial customs regime, the Mercosur and its strategic location between Argentina and Brazil, Uruguay serves as a regional distribution platform through its free airport regimes and free trade zones. We have 11 free zones in the country. Free trade zones. Also, Uruguay can function as a test market for those international companies that have no previous experience in the region. The US-Uruguayan bilateral relationship is strong, and Uruguay's government and business sector have a favorable view of American business. Also, foreign investment has been declared of national interest with a wide range of tax exemptions of investment. Some other points about useful economic trends I'd like to give to the audience is according to the Trade Agency of Uruguay, Uruguay's top good export destinations for goods were China, 28%, EU, as already mentioned, 15%, Brazil 14%, Argentina 9%, and United States 6%, and Mexico 3%. China remains the main destination of Uruguay's good exports, a position which they have held since 2013. In 2024, the United States ranked fifth as a destination for Uruguay's wood exports for a total of $784 million. Uruguay's base economy is agricultural sector, exporting products such as meat, cellulose, grains, dairy, wood, pharmaceuticals, and services. More than 80% of Uruguay's total goods export are agricultural-based products, with its agricultural-based exports going to more than 160 countries and representing nearly 10 times its 3.4 million per person population agricultural needs. Approximately half of the whole Uruguayan industry production is dedicated to food processing or agricultural product refinement, with beef as its 2024 top export product. Beef is Uruguay's main food export, accounting for 20% of total wood export with a value of 2.5 billion. Uruguay's second largest export good is soybean at 1.9 billion, and cellulose ranked third among products with export totaling 1.8 billion. About the imports in 2024, according to the statistics, Uruguay imported a total of $10.9 billion in goods, excluding petroleum, which implies a 22% increase year on year. Vehicles represent the largest important product, totaling 1.79 million and 28% increase of the previous year. Agricultural chemicals were second, totaling 991 million. Food imports increased by 6% per year on year, totaling about 615 million. Clothing and footwear imports were fourth with a value of 525 million, followed by 486 million in technology imports. Plastics imports were sixth, valued at $447 million. In this point, also, I want to mention about points that are very important for investment in Uruguay. Uruguay is a very developed country in innovation and technology. It's a strong ICT sector, especially in software and IT services. It has also globally recognized firms like D-Local about fintech unicorn. The public education system promotes STEM skills. Also, Montevideo is developing into a smart city with digital governance. The other point is about shipping and trade. That Montevideo port, the capital's port, is a major regional hub for transshipment and free trade. Part of Mercosur, giving access to a market of over 270 million people. Free trade zones, as already mentioned, allow duty-free operations for logistics, services, and manufacturing. And about exports heavily concentrated into agro-industrial goods. The last point that I want to mention is about the green economy and sustainability, that Uruguay is a global leader in renewable energy. Over 95% of electricity comes from renewables like wind, solar, hydro, and biomass. Strong climate policy and public-private partnerships. Investments in sustainable agriculture, green hydrogen, and carbon sequestration. These are very important points that we need to keep in mind about if you really want also to invest in Uruguay. As a conclusion, I want to mention that the important growth of the country over the last decade is linked to the significant increase in investment. In Uruguay, foreign direct investment has reached record levels and has positioned the country among the main recipients of FDI in terms of GDP in South America. Uruguay has a political, democratical, and social stability and macroeconomic soundness, which creates the right environment for successful investment. It is also a stable and predictable country, qualities that are taken as a differentially by investors. It's the gateway of Latin America. Uruguay's strategic location as the gateway of the region offers the perfect springboard to Latin America, provides top-level logistic infrastructure, state-of-the-art telecommunications technology, and the best energy supply in Latin America based on renewable resources. Through Uruguay, you can access a market of 400 million people, which accounts for 68% of Latin America GDP and represents a flow of foreign trade of almost 74% of Latin America's total. Uruguay has become the destination by excellence for international companies seeking quality, efficiency, experience, and new opportunities in the most stable and reliable business environment in Latin America. Both national and foreign investment has been declared of national interest. The foreign and local investors are treated equally. It also has a wide range of incentives that adapt to different types of activities, both industrial, commercial, or services that want to be carried out in the country. About the human resources in Uruguay are highly competitive, qualified, and multilingual. Moreover, the state promotes the implementation of training programs tailored for existing staff of new recruits, offering grants to companies that present eligible projects. The state guarantees free access to education from preschool to university. 4.5% of GDP is invested in education. And also about the life, Uruguay is the best country to live in Latin America according to the 2020 Ligatum Prosperity Index and the Mercer Index of 2021. The ranking is based on a variety of factors, including wealth, economic growth, and quality of life. Uruguay is a safe country, with around 4.5 million inhabitants. Montevideo as a capital and other cities in the interior offers excellent living conditions for executives and their families with access to first-class health and education services. More and more foreigners are choosing Uruguay to live. Executives can stay and work legally in the country while their applications for residency visas are proceeding. I want also to mention, like in conclusion, as already most of you heard from the other representatives of the countries of Latin America, that really the Greeks are very, very welcome in the whole region of Latin America. Also in Uruguay, I must mention that the Greeks, the Uruguayans are characterized like Ellinolatris, so they love Greece. That's why if you visit also Montevideo, you can find 28 roads and the boulevards with the Greek names and two great plazas points with the names of Athena and Greece. And of course, a lot of statues of Homer and other great philosophers. This is something that we need to keep in mind because this region is loves and we need to stay close. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasantzis. Exactly to take on your last point, yes, Greeks are very welcome in Uruguay, and this is also thanks to the great work that the Captain Panagiotis Tsakos have done in Uruguay, and the foundation, Maria Tsakos Foundation, who really has promoted a lot Greece in that country. And another very quick point, that although Uruguay is not a very big market per se, however, 2 years ago, when we visited with the mission Montevideo, and we collaborated with the local chamber of commerce, we noticed that a lot of importers, Uruguayan importers, they also import and distribute products to many other countries of Latin America. So they act like as a hub in forwarding products in many other markets. And this is something to keep in mind. Thank you very much again.
May I mention something last year was also the first time in our diplomatic relations between Uruguay and Greece. It was the first time that a Greek president visited Uruguay. That was Ms. Sakelaropoulou, and I have the opportunity and the privilege to be with her, and really we faced a very nice welcome from the whole from the president and from the diplomats, and it was a unique experience because in all these years, around 200 years that we have excellent diplomatic relations, never had a president visit Uruguay. So it was a unique experience. And also I need to mention, as you already said, that the great job that Foundation Maria Tsakos and Captain Panagiotis Tsakos are doing there, more than 40 years, and they are like a phare for of the Greek lights and the Greek culture in Uruguay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to the next country, and question is Peru. And I hope we have with us the ambassador of Greece in Peru, Her Excellency Mrs. Eleni Ioannidou. I don't know if she's connected.
She's connected, she's here, but she was here like a couple of minutes ago. I guess she will come back.
If connection cannot take place at this moment.
No, she's up. This is her screen.
Yeah, maybe a second. So in that case, in order not to lose time, I would suggest to proceed with our next honorable speaker, the ambassador of Greece in Chile, His Excellency Mr. Nikolaos Luperikos, who has been there in Chile, I think about a year or so, and he will brief us on how is the economic and business environment in Chile. Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Thanks to you very much, you and the Federation of Industries of Greece, for this opportunity to share with your members some insights in our bilateral potential between the two countries. First of all, someone has to say that Chile is not the biggest, but probably is in real terms the most leading country for the most of the years in Latin America. It has been for a long time a champion in reforms. More than 50 years of reforms brought this country from down in the scale of economic development to the first places, consistently in the first places. The Chile's business climate is one of the most attractive in Latin America. It's characterized by economic stability, market-oriented policies, and very strong institutional and legal framework. All these create conditions that are very propitious for the business opportunities, not only in Chile, but through Chile to the rest of the continent. The Chilean companies are very extroverted. I would like even to say, if I understand correctly, what happens here is that for many years they invest all over Latin America, and through Chile, your members can have the opportunity to invest to other countries and to start having a strong relationship with the business community. It is like a little bit how Greece was for the region of the Balkans for a long time, and probably till today. This being said, the strength of Chile is it's a high income economy. It is characterized by World Bank and others as a very advanced economy for the region. The second highest GDP per capita in Latin America, but the first country, preceding one, Uruguay, is smaller, far smaller, and more easily developed because of Chile is a very long country, 5,000 kilometers, practically from Norway to Mauritania or from Norway to Libya. It's a very long country. This creates a lot of difficulties, especially in the infrastructure sector. As I told you, the Chile market-oriented policies and participation in over 60 free trade agreements. In fact, it is probably the champion country in free trade agreements, give Chile the opportunity to have access, free access till now at least, to markets that control 77% of the global GDP, making the country also giving this country the possibility of being a hub for international trade. Now, in this year, there is some anxiety in Chile because especially of Chile is a very open economy with all of these free trade agreements, because of some problems that appeared in the international economic climate, the well-known trade wars. This creates some uncertainty, not because of Chile's internal problems, but because of the possibility to export products, mining industry and other products to economies that might, to other economies that might be hurt by this global economic trade wars. The country is a leader in foreign direct investment for many decades, and this is happening because it is politically stable, generally safe, the stable economic development, and the legal environment in Chile is also the most stable. If someone wants to invest in Chile, there is also Invest in Chile is a quite extremely performant operation of this country to help and guide foreigners to invest in the country. What we can say is the following. Here, the most important sector, of course, is mining. It is the largest copper producer in the world. It is the number 2 in lithium. It could have been the first, now it's Australia, but has the best reserves in lithium and also the more easily accessible from some perspective. The other important area in Chile is renewable energy. The country has no other sources, has hydroelectric, and no petrol, no oil, no gas. They import, like Greece, there are a lot of similarities between Greece and Chile in this respect. We import a lot of our energy. So the renewable sector is a very dynamic sector, and as a very dynamic sector. One Greek company, very important Greek company, probably has here in Chile over the last 8 years, I think from 2017, starting the operations as a subcontractor and now became a major contractor in the business of solar panels. With last year, I opened with them. I had the pleasure and the honor to open 4 solar plants, more than 700 megawatts in just 1 year, and they continue. Their investment is more than $700-800 million in the country, and they can. This is the company that exemplifies the success of the bilateral economic relationship. Trade-wise, we are, it is something like 70 million, 50 for them, 20 for us. There is no big commercial development between the two countries. And and I can tell you also that in this year we started and goes quite well for the first time. We try to open a little bit to the market. Some Greek companies are really interested, especially in the cheese making business. 8 or 9 Greek companies now are have licenses to operate in the country, which is a very legalistic country. And probably the most important problem in Chile is the so-called permisologia, a quite complex and lengthy process of giving the opportunity to foreign companies to commercialize in the local market their products. This is, can I say, is the most important part of this country, which is very open to foreigners. Greeks are very, as in other countries, in all of Latin America, apparently we are very well seen. The problem is that we're not always seen, we're not always present, and I think it will be very wise from your members to look a little bit more into this country, who appears to be far away, as many other countries surrounding us, but it is a country that offers an excellent hub for operation, not only in Chile but in other countries. This is probably the most important part of what I had to share with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Just taking from your last point, that's why we are considering to include Chile in in our next mission, business delegation to Latin America. And by the way, as my colleague Monica said in the beginning, there is a representative of the Enterprise Europe Network in Chile. Monica has contacted them, and they have offered, I think, to help us, to assist us in organizing business meetings for the Greek companies that will go to.
Yes, it's Euro Chile is the organization, which is the member of the Enterprise Europe Network in Chile.
Okay, so now we will have the
One addition, if you allow, one addition just before leaving you, is that this country has a strong sector in mining, a strong sector in renewable in energy. They're planning, yesterday happened this, to go at 80% of renewables in their energy mix. And another important thing is that it is one leader in aquaculture with Norway, in salmon and in trout. And maybe they can be very useful for us and for them a greater interaction in this sector too, in the agricultural industry and the food industry, as well as the aquaculture. I think this is very important and for the future. Thank you.
Duly noted your comment, Mr. Ambassador. And now we will discuss about Peru, and we have with us Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Greece in Peru, Mrs. Eleni Yanidou. Mrs. Ambassador, I have read that you are going to move to Brasilia. That's what I read, but nevertheless, you have been in Peru for a few years now, and you have some experience in the market and the country. So please, if you can share with us your insight about Peru.
You're muted. If you
Mr.
could.
Ambassador, if you can unmute the computer, because we can't hear you.
It's on Zoom on left bottom part. The audio button. Nope.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. So I was just mentioning that I would like to thank you sincerely for inviting. It's a great pleasure to be here today. Yes, after 4 years in Peru, Colombia, and Ecuador, I'm posted to Brazil. So I'm very happy to stay in Latin America and serve my second term as an ambassador in Brazil, a big country. And I'm looking forward for my posting there. But nevertheless, I'm very happy that I was posted for 4 years in Peru. Peru is a wonderful country, a very interesting place to serve for all those who are there and all those who had the experience of the Andean countries and the Andean communities. It's a very exciting posting. And just to say a few words about the economic situation in Peru to start with. Peru's economy is a developing mixed economy with a significant level of foreign trade, classified as upper middle income by the World Bank. It's characterized by a resilience of natural resources, particularly mining, just like my colleague mentioned for Chile, and a growing agribusiness sector. While experiencing strong growth in the decade leading up to the pandemic, Peru's economy has seen a more volatile situation recently with a contraction in 2020, a slow recovery in 2022 and 2023, and a rebound in 2024. Now, the key aspects of the Peruvian economy are the following. As far as it concerns the resource-driven sector, Peru's economy is heavily reliant on its natural resources, as previously mentioned, especially mining, copper, gold, and many other minerals. The mining sector contributes significantly to exports and to the overall economic activity of the country. As far as it concerns the agribusiness, the coastal region boasts a strong agribusiness sector exporting many agricultural products like asparagus, blueberries, avocados, fruits, and many others. And these two sectors have contributed significantly to the economic growth in the country for the last years. Peru is an open economy with numerous free trade agreements, including those with China, the US, Japan, And least but not last, the European Union. The free trade with the European Union that has been recently ratified covers Peru, Colombia, and Ecuador, offering a unique environment for investment and for trade between Greece and these three countries. Now, as far as it concerns the political situation, which is sometimes considered characterized by instability, there is poverty and inequality that triggers political instability, particularly in rural areas and among certain demographics, that is mostly the people who live in the Amazonian region and not the coastal region. But we have to stress that in 2024, Peru experienced a positive growth of 3.4%, driven by a return to a more stable condition, increased public investment, and business confidence. Now, the growth projections. Peru's economy is projected to grow by 2.9 in 2025 and 2.5 in 2026, according to the World Bank. That is very good news for the Peruvians and for the markets. And the inflation is expected to remain low. Forecasts suggest it will reach 2.5 in the current year and 2.6 next year. Now, the big secret, a very positive secret for Peru and the economy is that it has a very stable monetary policy. The Central Bank of Peru is nearing the end of its monetary normalization cycle with a further interest rate cut anticipated. They have a very stable currency, so no matter the political situation or the world situation, economics, Peru stays stable, and this creates a very trustworthy environment for investments, for trade, for any kind of economic and financial relations. And as the potential risks to growth, there is no big risks. Peru has a very positive future. Maybe a little bit of a slowdown in mining production due to environmental disruptions and lingering effects of political instability, but in general, this is a very stable country. This is a very stable currency, and this is due to its free trade agreements. This is a place where we can have a lot of initiatives to bring Greek business and Greek companies in Peru, as well as the other Andean countries, Colombia and Ecuador, which are also very interesting and very attractive. I would like to stress that last March 2024, the Thessaloniki International Fair President, Mr. Dzikas, was in Lima. He signed a memorandum of understanding with ADEX, which is the Association d'Exportation, and they have signed a memorandum of understanding. And there is also a memorandum of understanding pending between Enterprise Greece and Peru that we have promoted. This November, we are expecting a delegation from Greece for the third round of political consultations, which is a great event to promote not only the political, but also the economical and trade relations between the two countries. And we are looking forward, since Peru and Greece are enjoying 125 years of diplomatic relations. If you would allow me, I would like to add a few things about Colombia, a huge country, a big economy, a very interesting country, which is also coming closer. They are part of the Andean community. We have become observers. We have an observer status since 2023 with the Andean community. They are part of it. Colombia is also offering huge opportunities for Greek exports and business. Yesterday, we had the first round of political consultations in the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Greece here. A delegation of Colombia has arrived. We have discussed with them all aspects of cooperation, including economic and trade. And as far as it concerns Ecuador, we are looking forward for the first round of political consultations to take place most probably this September in Athens. So what is happening right now in the Andean region is a new perspective to build stronger bonds, not only for diplomatic, but also for economic relations. Colombia has a very strong trade and economic society and a lot of businesses there. And in the last 2 years, there was a memorandum of understanding between EVA and the Chamber of Commerce of Colombia. And as far as it concerns Ecuador, there was a memorandum of understanding that we have prepared between the trade exporters of Ecuador and the Thessaloniki International Fair. So I'm happy that this time this meeting is taking place in Thessaloniki, because we have worked hard to bring not only Athens, but Thessaloniki, Macedonia, and Thrace, that is, in contact with businessmen and entrepreneurs and big companies in Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru. This is all I have to say. I'm happy I have been invited, as I said previously, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions, and the embassy is there for everyone from your side to provide information and provide guidance. As far as it concerns Brasilia, I don't know what is the embassy doing there, but I hope I will try my best and move forward, because economic diplomacy is very, very important, not only for our country, but also for the region of Latin America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Ambassador. I have to reveal that Ambassador Yanidou has encouraged me to consider organizing a mission of Greek companies to the countries of the Andean community, which we do. We are considering that it is. And I believe that it is worth it for Greek companies to explore these markets. And Ms. Ambassador, we will continue our cooperation also with from your new post in the embassy in Brasilia. Thank you again. Now we will have a presentation on Ecuador, and we have with us Mr. Max Coelho, the Commercial Counselor of Ecuador. He's based in Milano, Italy, and he's joining us to present the business and economic environment in Ecuador. Mr. Coelho, the floor is yours.
Hello, Yanis. Thank you very much to you, to the Hellenic Association, and also the Thessaloniki Chamber of Commerce. It's a pleasure. Hello also to everyone who is present here. I apologize for being here. I am not driving, even have this, so feel confident about me. I'm just coming back from Rome because we had a visit of the president of Ecuador here in Italy. So those has been a very interesting and busy days. It's always a pleasure to be in contact with you again. The relationship between Ecuador and Greece has been growing in doing big steps during the last years. I would love to present a little bit about my country. If I can share my presentation, just please let me, if you can see it.
Yes, you can see it.
Perfect. Excellent. I think it's working right now. And also thank you very much to the Ambassador Eleni. It was very interesting information about what we are doing also as Ecuador. And I will share a little bit more information certainly here. And first of all, I would like to say that we're in a small country, a relatively small country if we compare Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and the most of the countries in Latin America. But we are almost the same size as Italy, so we are not that small, let's say. We are in the part of Latin America, and we have all South America, I mean, in one country, because we have the Amazon, we have the Andes, Cordillera de los Andes, we have also the coast, but as a plus, we have the Galapagos Islands. We have a big variety of weather, climate, and geographical characteristics that allow us to produce several different products with a big quality. So some information, we are around almost 18 million persons. Our currency is the US dollar, what makes easy everything. I mean, to import export from Ecuador, also to manage the investments in their country, and also to do tourism into the country. The capital is Quito. These are Quito certainly, and Guayaquil and Cuenca. And our government is a democratic government. Also, something very interesting that happens also with South America, you can travel from Greece to Ecuador only using a passport. It's not need of visa to visit our country or to do business in our country. Our main exportations are oil. And besides oil, we have mainly food. I mean, shrimps, bananas, roses, tuna, cocoa, patients. And you can travel from Europe to Ecuador, I mean, from Greece, from Thessaloniki through Madrid or Amsterdam to Ecuador, to Quito or Guayaquil also. It will be around 18, 20 hours of distance. We say that Ecuador has it all because we have petroleum, with mining also. This scenario has been developed during the last 15 years with more strength. Agriculture, certainly. Aquaculture, fishery with the shrimps, for example, and also fishes. The 90% of we have two worlds in one. We have good weather. During the whole year, we have the same season, the same weather. Between spring, if you are in the Andes, or summer, a complete year of summer, if you are in the coast or into the Amazon. Before, we have a polarized economy, excellent infrastructure, and hardworking people. I will share with you on a small video. Can you hear it?
We see the picture, but not the voice.
Yeah, we have connection issues.
We've lost the connection.
Like the internet is a bit slow to share the video and all the other video from the Zoom application.
Max, if you can hear me, I think the video is not really working.
Oh, okay. He reconnected.
Oh, there he is again.
Max, I think if you can continue your
Please unmute, yeah.
Unmute the laptop.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Please receive my apologize for this inconvenience. Do you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. My apologize. Well, Ecuador is a country that is focused in quality products and quality services. We are the main exporters in the world, and we one of the best qualities of bananas. Also with shrimps, tuna. We have been always producing and exporting food, raw material. Lately, we have also been working into adding value to our exportations. So we are not chocolate, for example, not only bananas, but processed bananas as snacks, for example, and several other products. I will share this presentation with you. So I will pass in this moment the information about our beautiful country in the tourism side, but we do promote and also we do work also a lot with the tourism area. Beautiful pictures about our different regions, certainly. To Ecuador, the last year we didn't have the best numbers. We received more than 1,000 Greeks before the COVID per year. But we are working into having better numbers and receiving more Greeks into our country. We have, during our work of the last couple of years, also new groups of people have been traveling from Greece to Ecuador. But also we can see here that there is not a tendency. If we see the people that who is traveling from, let's say, they travel the most in the summer, also during December. Here, we don't have a real tendency. We are certainly more than Galapagos or Andes Amazonian. We're also gastronomy, a very diverse and specific gastronomy. We have also handcrafts, culture, nature. But coming back to the economics, we have signed different trade agreements with different countries, also with the European Union, the one that is currently working that most than 99 to Greece and also from Greece to Ecuador with zero taxes. I mean, it was signed and implemented in 2018. But also we have trade agreements with all Latin America and also North America, Asia, arriving to a potential customers amount of 7.5 thousand million persons. You'll find some information about the next trade agreements we're working with, looking for Canada, Dominican Republic, South Korea. Here, be able to find which are our main exportations per area. All food items, 47%. Agricultural raw materials, 5%. Fuels also 35%. So it's still a very important amount of into what natural goods, 5%. This is small. This is still small, but as I said before, we are working on this. Our main exportations, as I said before, and you will know probably the bananas, the shrimps, the tuna, the roses, the cocoa, of course. And as explained, also we are working on adding more value to our exportations, not only cocoa, but chocolate, also the stoves, cars, the famous called Panama hats or Ecuadorian hats, certainly. And our main partners for our exportation certainly are the biggest countries in the world, China, Russia, USA, Netherlands, Spain, but also the neighbor countries, our relationship with our neighbor countries, and it happens in all Latin America and South America, of course, is customers are Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, considering our neighbor countries. What do export from Ecuador to Greece? First of all, we can see the figures that have been growing during the last years, and that is a very important information. We are being more present products into the Greek market. Also, the shrimps have been growing with those such like the wire or tuna, aluminum, the hats, plums, preparation of fruits, vegetables, sugar. Coffee is a product that has been decreasing its presence in Greece, but we have received new interest of roasters and importers over there. So certainly the figures for this year will be good again. In importations from exports, I mean, from Greece to Ecuador, the numbers are kind of flat, mainly used to Ecuador, to our country, peaches and olives, but also added value products, pulp of wood, plastics, machinery, certainly, aluminum, books, and let's say a lot of products with more added value. That is why the opportunities to grow, well, as we do see it, is we can still have growings in cocoa, snacks, shrimps, and coffee, and certainly other products too. But those are the main ones as we observe from Greece, from Ecuador to Greece. And in the other side, from Greece to Ecuador, machinery, fertilizers, certainly there is more room in our country to olive oil, wine, and tourism, of course. As we are an agricultural country, use another we do use machinery, and we need more machinery. We need more fertilizers, and there is a huge potential in that side. But why not the other products that Greece has it in very good quality? One interesting thing about our country, as a dollarized economy, the prices over there are not the cheapest into the region, and it's easy to arrive with imported goods. There is 18 million persons, so it's not a really small country. And I invite you to take in consideration Ecuador as a destination also for your exports. In relation to the investment, why investing in Ecuador is so good business? Yes, we do have a dollarized economy, and that help us to have a very low inflation, political, economic, and fiscal stability years. Tax incentives that we offer, different incentives to attract foreign investment into your country. And if we take a look into this, which are the main sectors that have been interested into invest in our country? Certainly, energy is one of the main ones. And in Greece, you have several big companies invest in the energy sector. There's an opportunity. Certainly, into the mining sector, this going with a lot of importance in the country, gold, but also copper, and also other metals, certainly. We have a highly qualified human resources, we are a sport-oriented economy, the geographic characteristics that we have, and being located just in the heart of South America, and being close also to the very important countries, a very important market. I will bring you an example. One Italian company is interested and they are already working on this. They produce machinery for the textile area, for example, and their machinery is composed with two pieces, let's say. One is the main machine and the one is a table where they do a product process, let's say. So they have been looking for produce this part, the second part of the machine to complete it, bring it the main machinery from Italy, complete it in Ecuador, and also to sell it in Ecuador, but also from Ecuador to all the other countries in South America. So this is an example. There are several opportunities. Other, for example, are the productive opportunities, as we have companies that are, for example, importing bananas, and they are opening over there in Ecuador to help this process, but not only for bananas, for different products, or also if you are producing, for example, we have blueberries, companies producing blueberries here in Italy, and they have also started producing and investing in Ecuador to produce that kind of product over there, bringing their experience or area. So this, those couple of the different opportunities we have over there, the stability we have, and we need you to take in consideration our country for the mission that you are planning, and Mr. Janis Patsiavos is planning, organizing into South America. And as the Ambassador Eleni said before, we are also organizing an event in Thessaloniki. We companies here, and together with the collaboration with the Federation and Chamber of Commerce and the Port of Thessaloniki, we will hold this very interesting event, B2B event, a commercial mission and B2B event over there, that will be in the mark of the Thessaloniki International. The first step, certainly we are starting the connection with the Chamber of Commerce of Quito and the Chamber in Greece, and Athens too, to reinforce this cooperation. This first cooperation, I mean, first the B2B missions held for the second semester, I mean, in Greece, in Thessaloniki, and also in Athens, and also to organize, to help to organize the other mission coming from Greece to Ecuador. So the relation is getting stronger and stronger. Different, very the Food Expo in Athens, also the Beyond Fair in the software sector is getting stronger, and probably you will see more from Ecuador in your country, and we hope to see you as companies and your products. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coelho, for presenting Ecuador, your country, even though on the move. Ecuador is still under our consideration to include it in our next mission. Now we have concluded the country presentations, but we have now another presentation on IP protection in Latin American countries, which will be delivered by Mrs. Giovanna Girardi, a training expert in Latin America IP SME Helpdesk of the European Commission. Mrs. Girardi, thank you very much for staying with us. The floor is yours. If you can unmute maybe Peter, so we can hear you.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Yanis. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for everyone that joined us today, and apologize to everyone that I'm not there in person as I would have liked to, as I had so much a great time last year with you in Thessaloniki. So it's a shame. It's really a shame for me not to be there today. Before I start, I'm gonna send a link. I'm not sure if everyone will be able to have access to the link. It's a link with 3 questions that I would like everyone to answer these 3 questions at the beginning of our session, so we can measure at the end. At the end, I will give a different link for another 3 questions, so the help desk can measure the impact we are having in our trainings. And with that being said, I'm not sure if I have the authorization to, yes, that's share my screen. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Share the screen. Okay. So with that, I will briefly present the help desk. The help desks are 6 different EU help desks with different geographical scope. Even though today,
Girardi, we don't seem to be able to see your presentation.
okay, let's see if I can fix that.
We can see a message saying you are sharing your screen, but no presentation is visible.
Okay, share window, share.
Maybe if you could share the exact window that you're trying to share.
Or we have the presentation already.
We do.
Maybe that's easier.
Yeah, but
It doesn't give me the option to share a different screen. Stop. Share.
Oh, we see something now.
yeah.
You see something?
Yes, it's okay. Thank you.
Great. Great. So just a brief presentation of the help desks. We are called the International IP SME help desks collectively, and each geographical scope, different geographical scope, has their own name, christened by their geographical scope. Latin America is the case of me today, but we also have the European IP help desk, the African, the Indian, the Chinese, and the Southeast Asian. We deal with the same type of issues. We deal with the same type of beneficiaries to the services, and we offer the same services to the European SMEs. Our services are informative. So we give informational services regarding intellectual property in the destination territory, in my particular case, Latin America, but you also seen from the other help desks all the territories we can cover. The services are free of charge, of course, and the issues small companies come with us with range from I need to register my intellectual property rights in this territory. I need my trademark, I need my patent, or I need whatever asset, intellectual property asset in the territory. Or I have a problem. And my problem is a deal that fell through, but the other party has taken a few steps to safeguard my intellectual property in their own name. The different issues, they come from litigation to acquiring the assets. So it's an incredibly broad range of services there. Also, we have informative guides and trainings like the ones we are having today. In the first line of assistance, which is our main services, where SMEs bring their queries to us, we try our best to reply to the queries in the most confidential, personalized, clear and concise way, free of charge, in 3 business working days, either by email, telephone, or our online form. I continue with the informative services we offer. We have country guides. We have all IP information in all 19 Latin American countries. We have case studies and training modules in the web as well. Here I leave our contacts, all the help desks included. So anyone having any doubt, IP doubt in any territory can get in touch with us for a little bit of free of charge help. You can also find us on website and the European Commission website and our social media. Now, getting into nitty-gritty details, I was asked to talk about protection of intangible assets, opportunities and challenges. It's great to be able to deliver this presentation after all the opportunities we have seen Latin America has to offer, but also connect this with the business itself and in what intellectual property regards, the business itself and protection needs to be understood as a continuous process. We have to understand that intangible assets, trademarks, patents, copyright, designs, for us to protect these assets, we need to think them globally with a continuous process in which we identify the relevant assets we are bringing to the destination territory. We register those relevant assets in the destination territory. We use and manage those assets with care and intention. And when needed, we defend and enforce those rights. All the steps in the process must be in alignment. You cannot defend something that has not been registered, because registration is the step for the existence of the right. So when we're thinking that in the future I may not necessarily I will need, but I may need, if I may need to defend my rights and my business interests in that territory, I need to think first what is that interest may going to be. Territory is an essential element to consider. We cannot have any right if the right does not exist in that territory. And if the right exists in Europe, in Greece, or anywhere in Europe, that does not mean the right exists in the territory of destination. So therefore, we need to make sure we understood how to create the existence of the rights in the territory of destination. And last but not least, we have to keep in mind that intellectual property is incredibly sensitive to time. Either because time, if we don't take time into consideration, we're going to have someone stepping forward before us and taking our opportunity away, or we're going to miss the opportunity altogether. Now, when we think protection as a process, we need to think about managing this process. And here I bring a little bit of what managing this process is in practice. Registering the relevant intellectual property rights, maintaining the existence of these rights, because registering, we give life to the right with the registration. But after registration, we need to give it care. We need to feed it for it to keep existing. So we need to learn what is this food we need to give to our rights for it to keep existing. We need to consider what role this intellectual property rights play in each commercial relationship we're gonna have in the destination territory. What is the role here? Not only for the consumer, but also for our partners in the destination territory. So registering the IP rights to bring them to life may not be enough for managing this process. We may need to also register the agreements we have with the relevant authority. We may also need to register these rights with customs authorities so that they can act in the ports of entrance and help us detect an infringement. That is not enough yet. We still need to keep monitoring what is happening in the relevant market and keep taking action when needed. Now, when intellectual property become relevant to your business, that is the biggest question of them all. The question most startups try to avoid. They think is for a later stage, is for when they are big enough. They think is not for small exporters. To be honest, I think we need to change that perspective and understand that intellectual property rights become relevant as soon as we start trading, as soon as we start a business. Intellectual property rights enable consumption. Trademarks enable consumption, enables our consumer to find us and to want our offering, enable our commercial relationships, potential distributors, potential importers, potential whatever is the commercial relationship you may have. This party is enabled by a competitive advantage you create through this exclusivity intellectual property rights give your business. So it has a perspective there from the competitors, then consumer, commercial partners, and relevant from the start of the business itself. Consumption in practice is what you see in the screen now, is what the consumer, we as consumers see and want and recognize and help us recognize the offering. So it can be the design, you see the design there, in the packaging of the product, in the product itself, from the pills that had this rhombus shape to the machine, to the shoes. The design is everywhere. The trademarks, again, is essential for consumption. And then the things you may not see is the technology there, the patents they are in there, but they are there. They are there. So and they do help consumption. The commercial relationships in practice is what you see there. Two brands you see in the screen, Torres and Disney, working together, not only for the benefit of the consumer in this case, because we have helping children eat more fruit and veggies instead of manufactured product, but also helping themselves to increase the consumption of their offering. So, and here I think is for me is incredibly relevant, this example, because one may think that fruits and vegetables traditionally have been traded as a commodity. We can see from this example that now brands and trademarks are essential for the trade, because they do enable consumption. They do enable the business. So commercial relationships in practice, you see in the form of sales of the good directly through e-commerce, retailers, distribution agreements, agents agreements, franchise agreements, license agreements, joint ventures, collaborations with other companies, or even influencers. So that is and this is just a few examples of commercial relationships in practice. No, there is a huge amount of number of relationships that I have not brought here with this slide. Now, Competitive advantage in practice is to own what others want in commercial exclusivity. And intellectual property rights give you commercial exclusivity that both your consumer and your partners will want. Competitive advantage in practice, too, means control over a proprietary right. Others cannot use your intellectual property rights without your consent. They cannot make, use, sell, import, export, distribute, or display. That doesn't mean infringement is not going to happen, but that means if infringement happen, you have the necessary tools to defend and enforce your interests. Now, exclusivity in practice may need to be defended when an infringer uses your IPR, your intellectual property right, without the authorization in the relevant commercial territory. And here is always have to add that the territory there, intellectual property only exists in the territory where registration happened, and infringement only exists in the territory where the right exists. Defense in practice, therefore, defense in practice require the existence of the right, generally through registration. If we need exclusive rights to brand identity elements, we're going to need to register trademark. And all businesses and any business, they all need a trademark. Design, if we need exclusive rights over the external aspects of a product or its packaging, we will need a design right. If we need an exclusive rights to a novel technical solution to a product with industrial applicability, we will need a patent right, and so on and so forth. Registration might not be enough for the existence of the right. So we need to think of renewals, obligations of use, declaration of use, customs registrations, contract registrations, etc., etc. And we also need to keep an eye for what is happening in the market with all the different assets and online and offline, because infringement happen at the same extent in both worlds, in the virtual world and the real world. Infringement happens everywhere. So for us experts, keeping an eye on what's happening in the market regarding intellectual property rights means we set up watches. The right watches and market watches as well. Not only we need to watch what is happening in the national intellectual property offices, but also what is happening in the market, what is happening in the marketplaces that are used in the destination territory, what is happening in the social media, what is happening in the search engines that local consumers are prone to use. So we need to keep an eye for our rights there, through manual search or subscription services, but also monitor the market offline. And of course, this is challenging, but with the help of the right expert and with the help of certain tips you're going to have today, it's going to become easier, I hope. We need to keep with the market offline watch. It's important that we keep an eye out for our supply chain, for all the formal relationships we have, because it happens. We don't want them to happen. We don't want infringement to happen in a supply chain, but we are not free from a mistake to happen. So we keep an eye for the formal relationships we have, the contracts, the specific clauses, our suppliers, our distributors, retailers, manufacturers. And this eye, we will see the eye in the supply chain. We will see with examples, with the case studies I brought today, how important this particular monitoring the supply chain is. Anyway, we keep going with formal relationships here and the informal relationships as well. Sometimes we are in negotiations with company, and then we realize they have done something they should not with our intellectual property rights, or the commercial agreement was not formalized in writing, and then something happened, the deal fell through. So not only what has been established or the relationship that has been established, we need to keep an eye not only for the relationships that have been established formally and in writing, but also for those that haven't, and especially for those that haven't. Again, how do you do that? Subscription services, your intellectual property expert, the registration in the right marketplace, social media management tools, Google Ads, etc., etc. Now, if you found an authorized use, where are you going to go? It depends. It depends where you're going to go to solve your problem. It depends. If it's in the registry, the National Intellectual Property Office, you're obviously going to try to find an administrative action that will enable you to defend your rights. If the infringement is in social media or marketplace, the first step is a complaint to the platform. Complaints, most platforms have specific forms for this type of complaints today. And they are not fairly easy to use because you need to be very specific on your complaint. So that needs a little bit of attention to the intellectual property right you're claiming to have and the infringement, the type of infringement you're claiming is being committed. Domain names, you have the dispute resolution mechanism through Word Intellectual Property registration. And also in Google Ads, you have a complaint form for the infringements. Now, if the previous steps had not helped you, then your last recourse will always be, and here, be certain that Latin America, in all Latin American countries, you'll be able to use this last resource, which is litigation through court. And here, in all Latin American countries, you have two ways to pursue this last recourse. One is civil actions and criminal actions. Most Latin American countries support both types of actions. Now, I brought two case studies to make it hopefully super clear. All the information I brought to you here so far, and let's see if we can get through them very quickly. I need you to remember why intellectual property is, when does it become relevant, how to acquire intellectual property ownership in the country of destination, and how to use intellectual property rights to create economic value for your business. And then last but not least, how to enforce your intellectual property rights in the face of an authorized use. So the first case study I bring to you is a Belgian company launching a new collection incorporating a monogram into textile. And they began negotiations with a Peruvian company to distribute the collection in Peru. First step here, what type of exclusive right could this Belgian company have to attract the interest of potential local partners? The Peruvian company is their local partner for the distribution of the collection and the end consumer. No? So the most preeminent type of rights they will need is a trademark that has been taken care, but a monogram, particularly a monogram into textile, an exclusive right could be acquired through design rights. Now, we need to understand how do we acquire design right in Peru? Now, the design right is an exclusive right that gives the owner exclusive right through the aesthetic feature of the product or its packaging, or in this case, the monograms incorporated into the textile. In the EU, we have two options for design rights exclusivity. We have the registered rights and the non-registered rights. Now, the unregistered design right in the EU is very sensitive to time because it's only valid from 3 years from the date of its first public disclosure. Okay, so now we know how in EU it worked. The company, this Belgian company decided to rely, in the EU, they decided to rely on a non-registered design right in the EU, and did not took any action in regard to Peru. If they had taken action, they would have needed to formally request the National Office of Peru, the National Office for the right to be granted. Now, the internationalization of the right is also time sensitive. And here we did not need it. This Belgian company did not have to have a registered right in EU to register the rights in Peru. They only needed to take the 12 months from the first disclosure into account to register the right there. However, those 12 months from the first disclosure, unfortunately, in this case study, had elapsed, had passed. So they were unable to register the design in Peru. Now, if the time had not elapsed, they would also need to comply with certain legal requirements. The external appearance, it needs to be novel, it needs to be original. Novel and original are very subjective concepts. It also needs to have industry applicability and not be excluded by the law. Designs that are poorly functional, have no ornamental value, cannot be registered, for example. Well, we understood that unfortunately, the design right for this Belgian company could not have been registered at that point in time. Now, the real problem actually starts here. The Peruvian company in which they were trying to negotiate this relationship, this commercial relationship, launched a collection with a very similar monogram. Now, my question to you, is there a violation of the Belgian company's design right? I'll drink a little bit of water and let you think about. The answer is no. There was no violation of the Belgian right because the right was not registered. They not only had any formal contract signed, not a non-disclosure agreement, not any type of commercial agreement. So no right, no design rights, and no contract. At the beginning, I said all the phases of the process need to be in alignment, and this is what I mean. Registration and defense work together. There's no infringement where the right does not exist. As the design right did not exist in Peru, there was no infringement. Registration and commercial use also need to be in alignment, because where there's no right, there's no incentive for the potential business partners, the distributor in this case, to enter into a contractual relationship. They saw an opportunity. They saw that the Belgian company didn't have any exclusivity to offer. And if they did not have any exclusivity to offer, what is the point of being in a relationship with them? They will not even be able to defend this exclusivity against third party. So if a third party comes along and makes something similar, there's no recourse, there's no remedy. So where is the what is in it for me? None. So it was a total failure here. And the lessons to learn is registration of the right is essential. And also a little bit of care into, while we're negotiating some agreements, we need to take maybe a non-disclosure, maybe not a non-disclosure, maybe some sort of formality in which we tie in our interests with the possibility of having to defend it in the future. Now, the second example is an Italian company. In this case, everything was perfectly done. The company had registered its trademarks and its figurative elements. It had signed a franchise agreement with a local partner in Colombia. So they had everything in place. They knew how to acquire the rights in Colombia, and they did. They went through the national office. They fulfilled all the legal requirements of distinctivity, legality, morality, availability, and lawfulness of the use of the sign. They also declared the intention to use, not only the intention, but actually the actual use of the trademark in Colombia. The agreement was governed by general contract law and commercial law, and everything was in place. Although franchise agreements itself is not subject to registration, trademark license agreements that goes through the franchise agreement must be registered with the national authority in Colombia. Okay, so in a franchise agreement, in addition to the business model you are offering the franchisee, you also licensing the rights to your intellectual property rights. So there are two agreements intrinsically connected. One of them does not need registration, the other one does need registration. It seemed like everything was in place. Colombia company decides to give the Colombia company, the franchisee, decides to give a logo makeover. They decided to give a makeover to the trademark that belonged to the franchisor without asking the trademark owner if that will be okay. The Italian company was not happy about it, calls for mediation, which was stipulated in the contract with the local partner. Colombia company argued that the contract is not enforceable as it was not registered with the local authority. Now, was there a violation of the Italian company's right? In this case, yes. The answer is yes. The use of a registered trademark in a way that has not been authorized in the contract constitutes an infringement of said right. Now, the registration of the franchise agreement, like I said, is not necessary. The license of the trademark, it is necessary. However, the courts end up considering that the infringement existed and the registration of the license was not an important step for the infringement to exist or not. Again, as it's a process and everything seemed to be in place, everything needs to be aligned, and you also need to keep an eye, like I mentioned before, you need to keep an eye for your supply chain. What's happening there? Your franchisee is modifying your intellectual property assets without your authorization. Well, if you're not taking a close look at what is happening in that market, you'll never notice until it's too late. So the two case studies just highlight the importance of registering the rights, but also keeping an eye on your business and acting when is necessary. Align your business strategy with your IP strategy, registering, using, monitoring, and defending your rights when needed. And with that, I finished my presentation, and I thank you very much for listening to me over time. And I will share the second link so that you can answer those 3 questions, and we can measure how well our training has been. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Giovanna. I don't want to take more of the time. Just can I ask one question, and if you can provide an answer in, let's say, one phrase. I understand that your training center provide to the companies information, consultation, advice, all these services. In case of a dispute, of a problem, of a real problem, a real life problem, can your department, and to what extent, intervene and assist the Greek company that has a dispute in a Latin American company?
The services we are allowed to provide are informative. Okay, so the information can be at any stage of your need. It can be at a registration stage. It can be at identifying your need in the territory. Oh, I'm going to Peru. I need to know what I need to register. You can get in touch with us, and we can give you that information. We're gonna analyze your business, your webpage. We're gonna ask you a few questions, and we come up with an answer. Here is what we consider you're gonna need. It can be in the use. You can have a doubt in the use. Yes, I have this relationship. I'm sharing a lot of sensitive information with the company in this territory. What should I do? And then we'll give you information on what you should do based on your specific needs in that stage. Your need might be in I have a problem. Someone is infringing my right. What do I do? This is the information. So it's not only when there is a dispute, it's not only our services are not only relevant for when there is a dispute, but in any moment of the business, you may have an intellectual property right doubt, and we may cover that. We may cover that with information. We cannot take any action before the courts or before a third party. We can only tell you, this is the problem you have, and this is the potential solution you can use.
That's very clear. That's good to know. Thank you very much, Giovanna.
Thank you.
So we conclude our workshop on Latin American countries and markets. Would like to thank very much all our distinguished speakers, the Federation of Industries of Greece, which hosted us this afternoon, and all of you that you stayed here to get all this information. And we're open in the future to contact us for any further detailed information or whatever assistance you may need from our side. Monica, you want to say final words?
Yes, just very, very final quick words just to say thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. I know that we had planned for a question and answer and networking session towards the end, but obviously we don't want to keep you from your other activities for the rest of the evening. But I will be sending a feedback form by email to you, and in the comments you can send any questions or any particular issues that you have, any topics that you would like us to pass on. So if you mention, I'm interested in Ecuador, my products are this, could you perhaps pass on a question for me? I would be more than happy to do that. So just reply to the feedback form that I will send you by email, and we will share the information with the relevant speaker. So again, thank you very much. Have a great evening, and hope to see you again here at another event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to see all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much to all of our speakers. It was excellent. Have a great evening.